president of UE Local 255 at Hunger Mountain Co-op.
Otto Martinez, I'm president of UE Local 255 at Hunger Mountain Co-op.
I'm Elizabeth Jesdale. I'm a member of Local 255 Hunger Mountain, and I also sit on the regional board for the union and the national board as well. I'm really involved in our union since day one, and so I am a person that people tell things to. Like, people come in the co-op and they'll tell me about what's going on in their workplace or different unions and things that are going on. So I'm kind of often sort of a clearinghouse of information, and I think that's how we ended up at the State House that night.
The school board was voting on a resolution put forth by Peter Sterling saying that we don't agree with the amendment to H509, stating that the bargaining for healthcare for teachers would be taken out of bargaining at the school board level and then placed into state bargaining. Elizabeth attended after her meeting, and she got the call that some representation was needed at the State House, that what we were discussing at the school board meeting was actually on the House floor.
We were all messaging back and forth, should we leave or should we stay? Because we don't want to all just walk out of this meeting and not hold the board accountable to come to a vote. And I think too, it was important for us to show up there, not only, as a parent and community members, but also as union members. It's like, what happens to the public sector eventually is going to infiltrate into the private sector union. And
Yeah, we really just wanted to make it clear that we saw this as a union busting bill, as a gateway legislation to a right to work state, and that we just were not okay with that, and we needed to put our foot down.
so we went right over to the State House, and we went and in there and sat down, and we happened to sit with some of the other union folks that were there. There were some executive directors, political directors, the president of the teachers union. From what I could observe, we were the only rank and file union members, workers in that room.
First of all, I thought it was quite amazing to me that this was going on at the same time the school board meeting vote was happening. So here's this other piece that's actually might be pushed through regardless of what we decide on this resolution at the school board meeting, right? So it's not very public. So here it is, it's happening right now on the House floor, and yet we're opposing it at this school board meeting.
I think once we did get to the State House, it was interesting. I mean, I think it was brought up by several representatives, but also, others ignored it. But just like the lack of conferring with the teachers was pretty astounding to me. It seemed like, it kept coming up that this bill had not been vetted, that there was not anything backing it up, saying that this would actually be the savings that would be accrued from passing this bill, and that there really hadn't been any communication with the teachers at all.
I think for me it was again amazement that this was all being discussed without actually being discussed with the people or hearing testimony from the people who this would be affecting. And in general, for me, the people around me were kind of amazed as well, being like, wow, when the vote came in at a tie and it failed, it was more like, we have never seen this happen, this is so rare. I was just really surprised.
I think for me, it was like, I'm watching it, I don't really know what's going on, I don't have a copy of what they're talking about. When people are standing up to speak, I don't know who they are. I don't know what town they're from. I don't know if they're Democrat, Republican, progressive, or other. So I found it really hard to follow. So I was messaging with people that that follow these things, and getting input from them. People that were at home listening to it on live feed, who were kind of updating and explaining things in the moment. But as just a lay person walking in there, sitting down and listening, I was like, it's kind of hard to figure out what was going on. And coming in the door, it's like no one, there's no one there to say hi. Before we go in, like, hi, this is what's being discussed. Here's a copy of the thing. Like, so if you're just like a citizen or a resident of the state who wants to go in and participate in the government and see what's going on and learn about it, you're really on your own.
Yeah, I definitely found the process like hard to follow. I mean, it definitely helped once we were able to like find the legislative agenda and find the bill and where we were at and what everyone was discussing. But I don't know, I also I found it really interesting when representatives were sort of like almost interrogating each other, and they weren't so much addressing the Speaker of the House. It was definitely directed at other representatives, and then they'd come back and there just wasn't really anything to back up the bill, which is what I found so shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
really important that we had some actual bargaining unit, like active workers there representing, even if it hadn't gone to the point where we could organize the teachers themselves to be there.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of a fluke that we even ended up there by Elizabeth following social media.
And also for me, it was just like such a bigger educational part for myself. It's like, wait a minute, I need to be following this, right?
If you are trying to get someone to come to the State House and like support or oppose a bill, it would be really handy to have like, you know, just sort of a presence there, and then B, sort of, I don't know, like a guide or something you can just like refer them to so they have the context and the situation at hand and can really just like be educated about what they're there representing and, you know, what the process entails.
I ended up having to do quite a bit of research into what we were going there for on our own versus the people who asked us to present ourselves, you know, giving us just a great, you know, just a pamphlet or something, like this is what's going on.
Just like a brief.
I found it scary that we were the only 3 workers in that room. That was terrifying to me, just as a matter of precedent. And one of the pictures I have up over my desk is from right in the beginning of what was happening in Wisconsin, like a bird's eye shot in the rotunda of the Capitol building, looking down, and it's very few people. And I think this potentially could have been one of those moments, and was one of those moments where it's like something really, really bad could potentially happen.
Yeah, something
Like that.
bigger could.
And I was like, where is everybody? Where is everybody? People need to be physically in that building to hold people accountable.
And I mean,
The phone calls are great, and I know people are busy, but there needs
The presence is stronger.
Yeah.
Our presence is stronger.
Yeah. You know, if
And the
there had been
phone call.
50 to 100, 200 teachers in that room, or workers in that room, I wonder how those 13 Democrats would have voted. Would they have really voted against working class people's interests? I don't know.
I mean, it's just like the short notice is definitely a challenge for us. Getting people there is hard when we have a working schedule to work around. And just like, you know, we went there, it didn't pass, moved on, Democrats made their proposal, right? And then, just like, and now Phil Scott's saying he's gonna get it through no matter what, right? On another bill, which I need to follow up on, but just, you know, having that constant communication and updates and just like in sort of a very comprehensive way that people can actually like get a hold of and follow and stay engaged with is really important, I